Has your father ever told you need to lose weight to run faster? Well, mine has. Sometimes ultimatums can determine your most memorable race and lead to unexpected results. Diet culture is something that definitely needs to be taken seriously, and there's a held stigmatism within the distance community that the lighter you are, the faster you're going to be. So basically, you want to be small so you can be faster, or so the story goes. The day started with an early wake-up call to the bus. I had my bag packed in preparation for the morning. We were headed to Sioux Falls, South Dakota for a track meet at O'Gorman High School. For me, there was nothing better than rest, which included a good night's sleep in my bed and a nap on the floor of the bus. I woke up 3 hours later and we had arrived in Sioux Falls. The temperature was quite cool in the morning but would soon change as the day progressed. Our coach always encouraged us to get a 15-minute run in whenever we arrived at a meet, and not breaking the regiment, we ran. My team and I took to exploring Sioux Falls in our short run. We saw many places we'd rather be eating at than running, but we suffered through the run and made it back to camp. At camp, I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and felt that I was fueled enough for the day. My friend Bria and I, we hung around camp until it was time for our race, as we were both running the mile. Bria was in a full-blown panic attack about the thought of running the mile. I mean, I didn't necessarily want to run the mile either, but it was something that we were going to do, and we were both going to suffer through it together, so at least we had peace in knowing that. Before we grabbed our spikes, I received a phone call from my father. He informed me that today was a perfect day to go after it and run a good mile time. There was no reason for me not to be excelling, and if I were not to PR, I would need to lose some weight and start a diet. Okay, now I was definitely panicking along with Bria. We were panicking together at this point because this statement added so much more pressure and I was definitely scared to run. I understand why I said this, of course, because the weather was pretty nice. It was 75 degrees with less than 10 mile per hour wind, which is something that we rarely get here in South Dakota. So Bria and I were now very scared. We went through the motions while warming up with much anticipation of the race. When we headed over to the start line on the third call of our event, now we were nervously waiting with other girls on the start line. Once the gun went off, all I could hear was my dad yelling at me to get out. I knew that this was going to be the most important part of the race and determine how every lap was going to go. The first lap flew by physically, and I knew that these girls were going to start moving up, and I had to move up with them in order to maintain a good race. The third lap was basically just me praying that everything went according to plan, because it's so much harder mentally to run than it is physically. Mentally, you just want to give up, especially at the halfway point of a race, because you know you still have 2 more to do. So here I was just fighting myself mentally more than physically to keep going. On the 4th lap, I knew I had to give everything I had. When you get to the finish line, the race is always going to hurt regardless, so you might as well finish hard. That's what I had going through my head. As I made my way around the track, gave it everything I had on that 4th lap, and when I crossed the finish line, I ran a 5:36. This was a PR by 9 seconds. So, sometimes ultimatums can seem quite daunting, but they lead to unexpected results. When it comes down to eating rabbit food or not, you just might PR.